Welcome, car lovers. Right from the first glance, the 2026 Audi Q3 Sportback pulls you in like a whisper that suddenly becomes a roar. It's compact, yes, but it wears aggression like a tailored suit. A swept roofline that kisses the air, a rear that drops away with deliberate attitude, and surfaces that catch light and throw it back with cinematic confidence. You don't simply see this Sportback. You feel the geometry working on you, coaxing curiosity. What does a car this composed sound like when it accelerates? And how does it behave when the road finally dares it to go faster? Stepping closer, details start to tell the story. The front end is taut. A sharpened single-frame grille with clean, angular air intakes and a headlight signature that reads like a digital signature. The tail is equally composed, a continuous light bar, OLED rear elements on higher trims, and that descending roof which gives the Q3 the Sportback a profile that looks like motion even when parked. The lines are not gratuitous, they're functional, shaping airflow, lowering drag, and hinting at the sportier dynamics underneath. Audi has revised the Q3 for 2026 with smoother proportions and a more planted stance. And the Sportback's silhouette is a deliberate exercise in making a compact SUV feel like a coupe without losing its everyday poise. Open the door and the Sportback tightens its grip on you. The cockpit folds around the driver with Audi's familiar minimalist discipline. Two large digital displays replace the clutter, a clean horizontal band of controls and materials that read like a quiet luxury, soft touch surfaces, precise seams, and ambient lighting that can be tuned to mood. The new digital stage layout, Audi's updated instrument cluster plus a generous central touchscreen brings Android Automotive at its core, fast response and crisp graphics. The seats are supportive with a discreetly bolstered silhouette. The driving position is slightly lower than the regular Q3 SUV, reinforcing the Sportback's more driver-focused intent. It's a modern cabin that doesn't shout its technology. It simply feels ready and confident. Now the part you came for, performance. Under the hood in US specification, you'll typically find a revised 2.2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that Audi has tuned to deliver 255 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque, routed through a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission and Quattro all-wheel drive. That combo gives the quicker variants a real spring in their step. Car and drivers testing clocks a brisk Zoo 60 mph in about 5.5 seconds for the sportiest tuned versions, and the electronically limited top speed in some markets is around 130 mph. If you're exploring European trims, there are even hotter power outputs and an available plug-in hybrid that blends combustion and electric power for higher combined output. These figures put the Q3 Sportback in an athletic slot, nimble enough for canyon blasts, composed enough for long-distance cruising. For those intrigued by the electrified option, Audi's e-hybrid Sportback layers a high-voltage battery into the compact package. A gross battery capacity in the neighborhood of 25.7 kWh has been reported for the PHEV layout, yielding a substantial electric-only range in the European test cycle. Audi has even quoted figures in the realm of 11-19 km for some PHEV variants in Europe. That's roughly 74 miles. Though real-world numbers will vary by driving style and conditions. The combined system output for these hybrid variants sits in the high 200s of horsepower, and 0-60 times remain brisk in mid-6 to high fizz depending on tune, giving owners the flexibility of quiet electric city commuting and combustion-assisted long-haul capability when required. If you're chasing purely combustion thrills, the Turbo 2.0T remains a lively and predictable companion. Weight and packaging matter because they shape how the car responds to inputs. Curb weights for some of the sportier Q3 Sportback variants sit around the high 3 600-pound range. A number that reflects the modern safety kit, Audi hardware, and optional tech. But Audi's suspension tuning and steering calibration are keenly considered to keep the car feeling light where it counts. Turn-in is precise, responses are communicative through the wheel, and the Sportback's lower roofline helps marginally lower the center of gravity versus the upright Q3, sharpening body control through corners. It's not a stripped-out sports car by any means, but it's one of those compact luxury crossovers that rewards an engaged driver with predictably progressive behavior and composure on imperfect pavement. Driving the Sportback is about balance. In everyday mode, the ride soaks up tarmac seams with quiet confidence. Wind and road noise are suppressed well, and the Turbo 4 hums with a linear, willing character that feels more grown up than before. Flip into dynamic settings and the car tightens its suspension, sharpens steering weighting, and lets the engine hold revs longer. The dual-clutch transmission snaps through ratios with urgency, and the Quattro system keeps torque delivery glued to the tarmac. There's an auditory flourish engineered into the experience on some trims. 2. Simulated or enhanced exhaust notes that give the engine a more dramatic soundtrack when you request it. It's the sort of sensory nudge that makes daily driving a little more cinematic. Practicality hasn't been sacrificed for style. Despite the Sportback's roofline, rear seat space remains usable for adults on shorter trips, and the cargo area, while shallower than the regular Q3, accepts daily loads with ease. Groceries, gym gear, a weekend bag. Audi's attention to fit and finish shows in the clever little touches: well-placed storage cubbies, USB-C ports, and an infotainment system that integrates navigation and voice control smoothly. For tech fans, the Sonos branded audio options and advanced driver assistance features available across trims make the Q3 Sportback feel more like a premium compact with contemporary credentials than a mere looker. So where does this all sit on the sticker? Audi's pricing strategy positions the new Q3 range as competitive in the entry-level luxury segment. In Europe, the Q3 Sportback TFSI trim start in the mid-€40,000 range, with plug-in hybrids and higher-spec variants pushing into higher brackets. US pricing aims to be aggressive as well, with target base pricing beneath the upper $40,000 mark for well-equipped trims, though fully optioned cars can climb appreciably. That means you can have a legitimately premium, high-tech compact with real performance at price points that are more accessible than many of its larger siblings. But expect options, packages, and desirable extras to move the final numbers upward quickly. Listen. There's an emotional architecture to this car that matters more than spreadsheets. The Q3 Sportback is designed to make you feel competent behind the wheel and proud to be seen driving it. It's compact enough that it's still nimble in city traffic, but its chassis balance and powertrain choices give it the confidence to eat highway miles without complaint. The cabin's sensory cues, the tactile switchgear, the responsive screens, that controlled engine note when you prod it, all conspire to create a daily driver that doesn't feel like a compromise. You get substance wrapped in style, with the added modernity of electrified choices if you want them. If you're someone who cares about the small but telling details, the way a steering wheel sits in your hands, the cadence of a dual-clutch transmission through an uphill bend, or the sculpted fall of light across a sheet metal surface, the 2026 Q3 Sportback offers those moments. It's not simply about peak horsepower numbers on paper. It's how those numbers are delivered. Smoothly, confidently, and with a certain Germanic restraint that rewards precision over flash. That's what makes a car like this addictive on back roads and relaxing in day-to-day life. You'll have choices. Prioritize the Turbo 2U for sharper on-demand performance and a familiar, eager power band. Choose the E-Hybrid if you want meaningful electric-only commuting and an efficient commute without entirely sacrificing punch. Either way, Audi's latest Q3 Sportback doesn't feel like an incremental exercise. It feels like a purposeful step into a segment where form and function are finally speaking the same language. If you're tuning into this channel to learn whether the Q3 Sportback should be on your short list, consider test driving one configured the way you'd actually buy it. Include the options that matter to you, because they change the personality of the car. Pay attention to the trade-offs between rear headroom and the coupe-like silhouette, and ask about the specific powertrain and chassis options available in your market. A Sportback that's right for you is one that balances performance, tech, and daily usability in the exact ratio your life demands. That's the 2020's Audi Q3 Sportback, a compact coupe silhouette SUV that wants to be both an urbane luxury statement and a driver's companion. It looks composed, it drives with intent, and it brings modern tech to a package you can live with every day. If you want a compact luxury car that feels both contemporary and capable, this one belongs on your test drive list. If you enjoyed this deep look, hit subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments which trim you'd spec: Turbo 2.0 or E-Hybrid.